Hello from World University and School on Monday, March 2nd, 2026 at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I think it's 10:30 p.m. India time, and please join this open WUAS question and answer news conversation opportunity as World University and School grows with MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages, Creative Commons 4 licensed, and in Wikidata, with Wikidata, Wikipedia's backend structured knowledge database in approximately 342 languages. So 342 communities of speakers of those languages are building out those Wikipedias with Wikidata as a structured knowledge database, informing them with Wikibase too. And as we wait to see if people will join this open WUAS news and question and answer, I'll look in my email now to see if people are interested in joining. And people may well be tuning in online as well, watching this Zoom recording or this Zoom live stream, which also will become a recording. I'd like to share a little news further with you. Dear World University and School community, Universitians, Peter Norvig, Google AI Director and Stanford Distinguished Education Fellow, and Stanford Law Codex Executive Director Roland Vogel, Tony Blair at the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change, former Prime Minister of Britain, of the Labour Party for about 10 years, all. Great to see on Twitter X, Tony Blair say, "It speaks to my condition," a la George Fox, founder of Quakerism in 1652. And could Tony Blair even be referring to these WUAS weekly business meeting, WUAS news and question and answer, which he gets? Greetings from World University and School, building on MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages. And you can access those online at opencw.apprende.org. And Wikipedia, Wikidata in 342 active languages. World University and School continues to plan online free to students bachelor degrees, PhD degrees, law, MD, IB high school and similar, AAAS, and master's degrees in each of all 200 countries and in their main languages. And as WUS proceeds with accreditation and in a Grow with Google WUS program too. Again, interesting that Tony Blair says it speaks to my condition, which George Fox, the founder of Quakerism, said in 1647, apparently, with Quakerism beginning around 1652, as he looks at the camera in this Twitter X post that he created for his upcoming book on leadership. The book's title is On Leadership, Lessons for the 21st Century, and is a manual on political leadership. Tony Blair shares the insights he has gained from his personal experience and through his institute's work with political leaders and governments globally. Find out more at linktree/on leadership. So as the former minister of Britain for 10 years of the Labour Party, and also as a Fettes College high school alumnus in Edinburgh, Scotland, where I attended Fettes too in the first year 6th form of A levels in 1977 to 78. How might Tony Blair be familiar with Quakerism, I wonder? Read more about this in the blog post, beginning Coral Reef Fish on using large language models in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from February of 2026. And here again is the incredible hashtag Tulify AI, WUAS article by Peter Norvig, Google AI director, and regarding World University in School, building on MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages, and Wikidata as a backend structured knowledge database regarding their 342 languages approximately. It's titled Revolutionizing Education with Machine Learning and AI, World University in School, updated on March 2nd, 2024. And it touches on not only MIT OpenCourseWare in many languages, but also potentially studying enjoyment in learning rigorously, scientifically, online, vis-a-vis Flow, the psychology of optimal experience, Csikszentmihalyi's work, and in other ways. And it also touches on, for example, creating a realistic virtual Earth, to which scientists and anthropologists and everyone could potentially add data and build out field sites, for example. And it also touches on even developing a virtual Harbin hot springs as part of a realistic virtual Earth, and to study bliss extraordinarily. It touches on much more. Check it out. It's very germane to World University in School. And in potentially, also in this article, World University in School. So as we develop, World University in School seeks to offer our degrees, for example, our free online university degrees, through potentially high school counselors, college counselors' offices in all 200 countries and in their languages, so that World University can become, and this will depend, I think, or this is contingent upon World University in School becoming accredited. So further, CC4 licensed Wiki World University in School, planned in all 200 countries and in all 7,159 living languages for free online degrees, and as Wiki Schools, is developing and growing, building on both MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages and, for example, Yale OpenYale courseware, and with a realistic virtual Earth for STEM, hashtag realistic virtual Earth for STEM, hashtags on Twitter, X, and LinkedIn. And think in hashtag Google Street View with hashtag G time sliders, hashtag G maps, and hashtag Gemini AI. And at the hashtag G cell view and hashtag G molecule view levels. And as STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics field sites and classrooms for new kinds of digital university learning experiences. And again, WUS is also in a Grow with Google WS program. And having taught at least one university from a textbook, WUAS is also seeking to move beyond the textbook for our free online WUAS degrees as we accredit. And regarding potentially in a realistic virtual Earth. And also the second wing of WS, the WS Corporation Educational Services Stores, the academic press at WS in 7,159 living languages with machine learning and with human and machine translation, seeks to invent the book anew, publishing from Google Street View, hashtag text in the sidebar. So potentially for my 7th book, second Harbin Hot Springs ethnographic book project, can we enter into a realistic virtual Harbin Hot Springs in Google Street View with time slider, even do, for example, brain research with headbands and brainwave headsets while people are soaking in the Harbin warm pool at the cellular and molecular levels, and stream this into our avatar agent electronic health records. As inventing the book anew, World University in School seeks to publish from potentially Google Street View with time slider, text in the sidebar, both to paper, somewhat familiarly, but also potentially to new digital hardware formats. For example, a WUS multimedia room, and for example, digital glasses, and in a variety of potentially other ways. So further, in this conversation between the digital and the physical, which a realistic virtual Earth engages as the virtual instantiation of Earth and biological and chemical and physical processes, potentially, and the real, the physical. What do you think of this MIT Science AI and Simulations article? Accelerating Science with AI and Simulations. MIT News, where the MIT professor of chemistry is quoted as saying, "I started simulating the same chemical reactions I was measuring in the lab." It's exciting for a physical, digital, realistic virtual Earth for chemistry with large language models, with Google Street View, with time slider, with G molecule view. That's also a set of Twitter posts. So further, World University and School open WS Weekly Business Meeting news and question and answer meet on Mondays. Next on March 9th at 9 a.m. Mexico time, Mexico City time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Mountain time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, US and Canada, 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, Western Europe, 10:30 p.m. India time, 1 a.m. Tuesday, the next day, Hong Kong time. But please check your time converter from any of the 24 time zones you might be in to join this open WS Weekly Business Meeting conversation in real time, in a Zoom call, and with the Zoom URL in the open WS Weekly Business Meeting agenda and news below, and in the following WS blog posts. So the agenda for today, Monday, March 2nd, 2026, is in the blog posts beginning Skyline Ridge Open Space Preserve from last week, which is, I think, was February 23rd, 2026. So I posted these two blog posts with the agenda and news on Monday, February 23rd, 2026, to season for about a week. And today, after today's WS Weekly Business Meeting, I will post the recording to the main YouTube channel for World University and School. Just checking to see if people want to join. So World University is growing and waiting, I think, about the California exempt filing process to advance, and the Candid GuideStar platform affiliated with the IRS to develop too, and waiting for accreditation opportunities to further develop, having the green light from Middle States Commission on Higher Education with offices in the greater Philadelphia area, and with other possibilities emerging too, potentially again to look at Western Association of Schools and Colleges, which accredits universities and colleges on the West Coast in California, Stanford, the University of California's, some internationally as well. And World University and School is waiting for money. So further, the agenda and news for the weekly business meeting for Monday, 23/26, was posted the week prior to that. I think it was February 16th, 2026, in a blog post beginning Santa Monica Mountains on both blogs. Check them out. Further thoughts, questions, suggestions? how to grow the community, the World University and School community in all of this further, and in Canyon 94516, potentially. All the best, abolitionally, a best STEAM, Creative Commons licensed open courseware wiki, World Univ and SCH, hashtag WUS abolition. Movement is growing to protect people. And read more about this further in the blog post beginning Lotus Kamala Padma from July of 2025 in my blog, in scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, and in WUS seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet to facilitate wiki, free universal education, and free universal, potentially, degrees too, and to end poverty worldwide. Yogically, friendly, NTF, NTQ, Quaker, non-theist friend, non-theist Quaker, non-Quaker, and Unitarian Universalist greetings. Kind regards, Scott G.K. McCloud, president at worlduniversityandschool.org, founder, president, CEO, professor, presiding and recording clerk, loosely in the manner of unprogrammed NTF friends, Quakers. Recently, last week, I updated the organizations I'm involved with on my LinkedIn, my main LinkedIn page, linkedin.com/in/Scott G.K. McCloud. And the recording of today's WS News and Question and Answer will be posted to the main active YouTube channel for World University and School, youtube.com/Scott McCloud World University /videos. So from last week further, how National Science Foundation at NSF on Twitter, X, could hashtag World University, WS Univs, hashtag Realistic Virtual Earth for Quantum, hashtag Realistic Virtual Earth, hashtag for Quantum, hashtag hashtag RVE for Quantum, hashtag WUAS Quantum, help. And regarding hashtag Gemini AI, Ray Quantum. And this retweets a National Science Foundation Twitter post about they're beginning to build out the infrastructure for quantum in the United States and having monies for that too. So, first wing of World University and School. The first of two wings, 501c3 similar nonprofit, which has a GuideStar profile. CC licensed best STEAM open courseware, Wiki World University and School wing. Its beginning URL is worlduniversityandschool.org. Agenda item 0, video minutes. The recording of the 223 WS News and Question and Answer is posted on the main YouTube channel. Check it out. Agenda item 1. To support your college-bound students, David Thurston, who recently became the executive director of, I think, Bright Paths DC, to help college-bound high school and similar students. And he, as a tutor of college-bound students, for example, in many schools in the greater DC area, to support your college-bound students, David Thurston likely envisions a platform that bridges the gap between open content, think MIT OpenCourseware, and Yale Open Yale courses, and professional validation, potentially getting a degree that can help people with their careers, next step in their careers. So I asked Gemini AI about this, and here's the question. And regarding Google Australia and Canva Design and Canva Education, both with headquarters in Sydney, Australia, the question is, Regarding Google Australia and Canva Design and Canva Education, both located in Sydney, Australia, for free World University and School degrees in a number of languages, recently updated this after 4 years. After 3 years, so the main, I recently updated World University and Schools website.org website, worlduniversityandschool.org's website after about 3 years, and asked further of Gemini AI, what might David Thurston, as the new executive director at Bright Paths DC, like to see here on this worlduniversityandschool.org website at World University and School for your college-bound students in DC, besides accreditation and courses other than ocw.mit.edu courses? And Gemini AI said, to support your college-bound students at World University and School, for example, David Thurston likely envisions a platform that bridges the gap between open content and professional validation. Beyond the core MIT OCW materials, a robust World University and School platform should prioritize: 1, interactive global community, virtual world classrooms, utilization of platforms like Google Street View or 3D environments to create field sites where students can interact with the environment they are studying. Wiki-based pedagogy, tools that allow students to teach to their web camera and contribute back to the wiki, fostering active learning rather than passive consumption. Secondly, specialized degree tracks, multi-language proficiency, pathways that integrate language learning with core subjects, e.g., international business in Spanish or physics in Mandarin, to prepare students for a global workforce. Credit for experience, clear mechanisms to translate past education, work, and life experiences into university credits to fast-track degree completion. Thirdly, professional and technical integration, industry standard software, access to specialized tools like CM-specific software or coding environments directly within the learning dashboard. CM might stand for content management. Employment portals, verifiable transcripts, and direct links to global independent verification services to ensure degrees are recognized by employers. 4, holistic student support, career and research mentorship, access to a network of faculty and mentors who can guide independent research and capstone projects. Social emotional learning, SEL, seminars focused on academic skills, wellness, and ethics to develop well-rounded global citizens. Would you like me to outline a specific curriculum path for one of these languages or generate a checklist for student accreditation readiness? Gemini asks to conclude. So posted this to Twitter X as well. Incredible Gemini AI joined the Open World University and School February 16th, 2026 WUAS weekly business meeting. So the Twitter post reads, incredible hashtag Gemini AI joined business meeting with the Gemini AI link at Open World University and School Monday, 2/16/2026. Hashtag WUAS weekly business meeting, loosely conducted in the hashtag manner of friends, and regarding how to develop hashtag WUAS UNIVS in Australia, in India, and regarding hashtag David L. Thurston in USA for hashtag college-bound students. And the reference to Australia and India in this Twitter post also refers to potentially Canva Education and Canva Design and possibly Google Australia, where they're both headquartered in Sydney, Australia. Could World University and School build out our platforms for USA students, college-bound USA students, and also for prospective students in Australia and in India in its 22 scheduled languages for free degrees online from home? And read more about this in the blog post beginning Valley Oak Quercus lobata in my blog, scott-mcleod.blogspot.com, 2026 forward February, Valley Oak Quercus lobata.html. Agenda item 2, coral reef fish. So this is the beginning of a blog post about the following extreme longevity genetic drug developments with LLMs. Agenda item 2, coral reef fish on using large language models to understand the language of life. That's the title of a paper authored by Joao Pedro Magalhães and George M. Church. And great to see George Church co-author a scientific paper on AI regarding cell transitions and large language models, cell transitions as people age or as people get younger with aging reversal. Great. At World University and School, building on MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages, is developing a #realistic virtual earth for this. And see Peter Norvig's incredible revolutionizing education with machine learning and AI article mentioning a realistic virtual earth for the first time other than WUS, I think. And think #Google Street View with Google Time Slider in Google Maps and at the G cell view and G molecule view levels and with TensorFlow AI and large language models. And see especially the Harbin Gatehouse in Google Street View and the dates of 2007, 2012, and 2024 at the Harbin Hot Springs Gatehouse in Google Street View, and how we might possibly connect these 3 years, 2007, 2012, 2024, to our avatar agent electronic health records, which might emerge from Little Pegman in the lower left corner of Google Street View with Time Slider, and potentially to our Connect these physical these dates 2007, 2012, 2024 to our cells and our molecules in both our bodies and Google Street View. Could we get data sets of cells for all of our bodies in the year 2007 and also differentially in 2012 and differentially in 2024? And possibly, could we get data sets of, for example, cells when we were 7 years old and 12 years old and 24 years old, and also begin to work with these in terms of cell transitions on the digital side, the large language model side, the realistic virtual earth side, and interoperating them iteratively with our physical bodies, possibly with an eRapid sensor out of the Harvard WIS Institute, for example. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Coral Reef Fish on using large language models. And also check out the paper that Professor Magalhães, I think at the University of Birmingham in England, and Professor George M. Church co-authored, titled On Using Large Language Models to Understand the Language of Life. Agenda item 2A, best large language models for hashtag cellular transitions across human life stages is a question I asked Gemini AI. And regarding integrating these into a realistic virtual Earth for genetics, a realistic virtual Earth for aging reversal, a realistic virtual Earth for extreme longevity, and think Google Street View with Time Slider, Google Maps, Gemini AI, and at the Google Cellular and Google Molecular View levels. And read the Gemini AI response. It's being very helpful with explaining existing information technology platforms that could be of use in a variety of ways. For example, it says in these regards, I'm opening the Gemini AI response with its URL. Taking a little time, so maybe I'll come back to that. Further, best large language models, best LLM models for cellular transitions across human life stages, and regarding Professor Margulies at the University of Birmingham, I think, or possibly Manchester, Twitter post. His Twitter feed is JP Senescence. And regarding George Church and potentially building a realistic virtual Earth for human longevity, essentially a Google Earth of the human body, is a frontier being explored by researchers like George Church through the convergence of foundation models and high resolution spatial biology, which is the Gemini, part of the Gemini AI response. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Ammonia Species, SPPP, in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com/2026, I think in January, but that may have been, it may be February. Ammonia-SPP is the beginning of the blog post. Agenda item 3, Hauya elegans is the name of the species. It also begins the blog post. Best free hashtag virtual world building, hashtag AI tools, hashtag Google AI Studio, question mark, Genie, or best, and then best free AI world building tools and alternatives, hashtag Google Project Genie. How? At Demis Hassabis, who is the Nobel laureate for chemistry in 2024, to build an emerging hashtag realistic virtual Earth, hashtag for synthetic biology, with hashtag realistic virtual Harbin, hot springs, in hashtag G Street View with hashtag G Time Slider at hashtag G Cell View, hashtag G Molecule View levels. A, hashtag physical digital, hashtag MIT, Harvard, Wellesley, hashtag HTGAA, virtual node, hashtag RVE for aging reversal. HTGAA stands for How to Grow Almost Anything, synthetic biology course that's happening now for registered MIT, Harvard, and Wellesley students, in which I think I'm a global listener. And further, in this agenda item 3, regarding Mary Brunkow, who is the Nobel Prize winner in physiology in 2025. Some interesting videos from her from around February 18th, 2026. Fascinating insight into how genetics research works from hashtag Nobel laureate, hashtag Mary E. Brunkow, and regarding the hashtag FOXP3 gene mutation in the Nobel Prize lecture. So a set of Twitter posts about this. How at Demis Hassabis to build in emerging hashtag realistic virtual Earth. See the Peter Norvig Toolify AI WUS article. Hashtag for synthetic biology with hashtag realistic virtual Harbin in G Street View, G Time Slider, G Cell View, G Molecule View levels, a physical digital, hashtag MIT Harvard Wellesley, hashtag HTGAA virtual node, hashtag RVE for aging reversal. So part of this HTGAA synthetic biology course, How to Grow Almost Anything course, involves, for committed listeners who are students from around the world who are doing the work on a weekly basis, to go into physical laboratories in different cities, in different countries. And this is to do the lab work, the wet lab work. And one of the questions I'm asking further, and have been asking in the past recent WS weekly business meetings, is how could we build potentially a node, possibly in the Canyon, California 94516 shop, a wet lab that could become a virtual lab, a virtual node, so that committed listeners, for example, and prospective WUS matriculating students could begin to do experiments from their home that would interoperate with this How to Grow Almost Anything synthetic biology course with its physical nodes of laboratories, wet labs, for example. And with HTGAA having about 400 committed listeners, seems like a large number to me. Could we scale this even further? And at World University and School, with a World University and School building an HTGAA virtual node. Stay tuned. And this retweets the set of Twitter posts I just read, retweets best free virtual world building, hashtag AI tools, hashtag Google AI Studio, Genie, or best free AI world building tools and alternatives, hashtag Google Project Genie. And see also the video I made in around 2009, nearly 17 years ago, around 17 years ago, the making of virtual Harbin introduction in the 3D virtual world of Second Life, which is a whole different approach, which would, where if we could build out a virtual node at World University and School for HTGAA, newly in Google Street View with Time Slider, Google Maps, Google Earth, and at the cellular and molecule view level, in a way, with this Second Life 3D group buildable virtual world, informing all of us being able to make and build together in a virtual world a virtual node for experimentation that partly comes in communication with my second planned Harbin Hat Springs ethnographic book project, which includes brain science research, potentially. That would be great. That's a set of Twitter posts. Read more about this in the blog post beginning How Ya Elegance, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com/2026/02/How Ya Elegance. Agenda item 4. And might Mary Brunkow, who grew up in Portland, Oregon, where Reed College is also, and is now based in Seattle, I think, the Pacific Northwest too, Seattle, Washington. How, and might Mary Brunkow, the physiology Nobel laureate for 2025, be able to help with this hashtag realistic virtual earth for genetics, hashtag RVE for genetics, and even the hashtag RVE for aging reversal? So check out her Nobel lecture in physiology or medicine. The video link is in today's blog post, in this blog post for today's WS News and Question and Answer from last week. beginning Skyline Preserve. It's fascinating. Check out her Nobel Prize page, facts about Mary Brunkow, and all regarding building out a realistic virtual Earth for genetics, which she knows so well. She knows genetics so well. Having that genetics knowledge in building out a realistic virtual Earth for genetics will be key. And see also her Nobel Prize banquet speech, Mary Brunkow, and also Mary Brunkow on science as truth. And her, again, Nobel Prize lecture, Mary Brunkow, Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine, 2025, 3 videos. And see also the video of Demis Hassabis, Nobel lecture from, I think, his winning the chemistry Nobel Prize in 2024, also in this set of blogs, for dated February 23rd, 2026. And in this blog post for this agenda item, beginning Hauya, Hauya -elegans. Agenda item 5. Glad to have registered for this Wikimedia Wiki Medicine event and regarding 200 planned online WUS medical schools too. A Wiki Medicine Cafe. Updated my intro in Wikimedia after doing so. And see further we'll see further how World University and Schools medical schools might grow with Wikidata in all 200 countries, potentially with this communication opportunity with Wikimedia and regarding Wiki Medicine. Agenda item 6, Ammonia species. The blog post beginning with that. In seeking a potential hashtag Walmart WUAS collaboration, initially with Walmart in 19 out of about 200 countries worldwide, regarding hashtag WUAS store within a store model, and regarding the WUS Press, the WUS Corporation. So the second wing of World University and School, how could the first wing at World Univ and SCH on Twitter X, building on MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages, do both outreach, WUS outreach, and WUAS delivery? So this is on the World University and School first wing of World University and School, because it's about WUS outreach, possibly beginning to grow our matriculating student body by doing outreach, potentially as we develop possibly a store within a store model with Walmarts in about 19 out of 200 countries, and possibly with WUS delivery. Could we deliver to students who are interested in free online degrees from home, for example, Lego robotics kits, around the, say, Walmart's first initially in all of their 19 countries, capital cities. Could students who hear about World University and Schools online free degrees through WUS outreach then potentially contact Walmart and regarding World University and Schools store within a store model? And if matriculating into World University and School might involve doing a Lego Spike Prime robotics kit tutorial or similar for matriculation, which works with the Scratch programming language, could these students buy Lego Spike Prime robotics kits and have them delivered to their houses, initially out of the World University and School, store within a store, Walmarts in all 19 countries, capital cities. This is potentially the idea. World University and School is also interested in making our free online degrees from home available to people from disadvantaged backgrounds. So World University and School might also work with schools in all of those 19 school systems, in all of those 19 Walmart countries and their capital cities, such that students who are interested in matriculating at World University and School for free degrees might be able to order their, say, Lego Spike Prime robotics kits from World University and School, store within a store, Walmart, store within a Walmart store, and have them delivered to their house for free. So they wouldn't pay the approximately $400 in some of those countries for a Lego Spike Prime robotics kit, or other kinds of things like books, because the school systems in their countries might cover those costs, and all in terms of doing WUS outreach and growing our student bodies in all 200 countries, in all 19 countries that Walmart is in initially, and then developing in 200 countries with time. Agenda item 7. Just checking to see if people might want to be joining. Agenda item 7. The Stanford Law Codex Group meetings last February 19th had Axon, Lightpost, and eLegalis as presenters from these companies. And regarding Lightpost, Axon Lightpost, 2 nation states were mentioned, particularly the Royal Bahamas and the US. And one of the questions I wondered where Lightpost integrates, for example, video streams in a criminal law enforcement kind of IT infrastructure scenario. Axon Lightpost integrates video streams that help solve crimes. How could, for example, people further in the Royal Bahamas nation state and the US nation state, how could people wiki add all the video footage that they might also make, even with their smartphones, to the video footage, for example, that Axon Lightpost integrates from companies' video streams, from law enforcement video streams for their criminal law enforcement software? How could people wiki add also all that video footage to a hashtag realistic virtual earth for history and a hashtag realistic virtual earth for law in one iterating realistic virtual earth? So there are many legal questions that our WS law schools planned in all 200 countries and in their main state, in their main languages, and in all 50 US states too, WS law schools would begin to be able to address, even with AI and machine learning, in terms of integrating the video streams of such Axon Lightpost law enforcement regarding crime video footage. And then how could all of us as citizens also add video footage, that video footage, who owns it, but also our own video footage into a realistic virtual earth for history, a realistic virtual earth for law, in one iterating realistic virtual earth. Read more about this in the blog post Coral Reef Fish on using large language models from February 2026 in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Thinking in terms of a realistic virtual earth, and think Google Street View with time slider, at the Google cell view and Google molecule view and Google atom view and Google qubit view levels, think adding every single atom in the universe since it began 14 billion years ago into Google Street View. Computer science statistically selected for, and where we also, as individuals, as end users with EthnoWiki Virtual World Graphy, can add to this realistic virtual Earth for every atom ever in the universe's history, and in a realistic virtual Earth for history, and a realistic virtual Earth for law, in one iterating realistic virtual Earth. Agenda item 8. So what cellular transitions happen when we do yoga asana, and potentially in a hashtag realistic virtual Earth for cells in our physical, digital, avatar agent electronic records, for example, but also inside of us? And how could we begin to study this further and with avatar agent electronic health records and a realistic virtual Earth for cells to study the cell transitions that occur potentially in the brain too, which is harder to access from the outside especially, and regarding yoga asana's effect on cells microscopically. So a set of Twitter posts about this. Which databases to draw from first at GeoChurch? Hashtag Peter Norvig. In developing hashtag LLM models for hashtag cellular transition, hashtag cellular transitions, hashtag across human life stages. And regarding a realistic virtual Earth, a hashtag RVE for extreme longevity, hashtag RVE for cells in our physical digital, hashtag avatar agent electronic health records. And see the blog post beginning Kokio Kio Kio, or Hawaiian white hibiscus flower, in my blog from February of 2026, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. So which databases to draw from first, as possibly World University and School begins to build out enormously databases, almost infinitely, for possibly cellular transitions across human life stages, and for a realistic virtual Earth for extreme longevity, a realistic virtual Earth for cells. And this retweets George Church's co-authored article on using large language models to understand the language of life, which also in a, I think, bioRxiv or Twitter post reads, abstract-wise, excited to share our latest paper on the future of AI in biology. Machine learning has transformed fields like language through large-scale statistical modeling, yet we are still far from predicting human biology. In our new work with @GeoChurch on Twitter X, we argue that decoding the human genome and modeling gene interactions across space and time should be the ultimate goal for building predictive models of human biology and disease. We need computational models that replicate cellular transitions across human life stages, from development to aging, from the genetic sequence and its dynamic regulation. Developing models with temporal and spatial resolution is ambitious, but we argue it is theoretically feasible and a long-term vision for understanding the language of life that could reshape biomedical research. Set of Twitter posts about this. How to develop databases and large language models for cellular transitions across human life stages from, for example, hashtag Harvard Medical School at embryo, 10 years of age, 20 years of age, 30 years of age, 40 years of age, 50 years of age, 60 years of age, 70 years of age, 80 years of age, 90 years of old peoples, and regarding dates in the Harbin Hot Springs Gatehouse in G Street View with G time slider 2007, 2012, 2024. And I asked and see the Google Maps link for the Harbin Gatehouse in these regards. And more about this in this Twitter X post in a blog beginning yellow coneflower, Echinacea paradoxa. So it would seem that Harvard Medical School would have access to remarkable databases and code sources, and not only from existing ones, but could generate them for cellular transitions across human life stages, from the embryo to ages 10, 20, 30 through 90, 100, 110, 120, but not yet 130, because the upper known limit for documented age for living is 122. How could we connect these regarding the dates in the Harbin Hot Springs Gatehouse in Google Street View with Google Time Slider of 2007, 2012, 2024? See more about this again in the blog post beginning yellow coneflower Echinacea paradoxa in my blog. Agenda item 8A. So what cellular transitions happen when we do yoga asana, and potentially in a hashtag realistic virtual earth for cells in our physical digital avatar agent electronic health records? And I asked this of Gemini AI and got a great response. Fascinating to read. Gemini says, connecting the ancient practice of yoga asana poses to a realistic virtual earth for cells, RVE, moves us from mind-body wellness into the realm of multi-scale computational biology. You are essentially describing a feedback loop between biological wetware and digital twinware. Here is how these cellular transitions map across human life stages and into the architecture of an AI-driven avatar agent. 1. Cellular transitions from mat to metadata. When you perform an asana, you aren't just moving limbs, you are performing biophysical programming. The piezo effect, senolytic signaling, telomeric maintenance. Second part of Gemini AI's response. LLMs and the biological grammar of aging. Large language models are being repurposed from human languages to proteomic and genomic languages. In your avatar agent, an LLM wouldn't just read your doctor's notes, it would read your cellular transitions across life stages. And regarding predictive trajectories and the yoga correction, where Gemini AI writes about the yoga connection, the LLM identifies deviations from the longevity curve. It might suggest, for example, quote, based on your RVE simulation, realistic virtual earth simulation, your current hip mobility is limiting interstitial fluid flow to the pelvic lymph nodes. Increase pigeon pose to optimize cellular waste clearance. The third item Gemini AI responds with, thirdly, the RVE for extreme longevity architecture. In physical digital avatar agent, your EHR, electronic health record, becomes a dynamic simulation rather than a static PDF. Fourthly, scaling transitions across life stages. The transition looks different depending on where you are in the realistic virtual earth RVA timeline. Developmental stage, yoga optimizes structural symmetry and epigenetic imprinting for resilience. Secondly, the maintenance stage, the prime, yoga focuses on DNA repair mechanisms and mitochondrial density. Third, longevity stage, extreme longevity. Yoga acts as a low impact mechanical stimulus to maintain proteostasis, preventing proteins from misfolding, clumping, which causes diseases like Alzheimer's. The vision, the in silico yoga teacher, quote, in silico, end quote, yoga teacher. Eventually, your avatar agent will use the hashtag realistic virtual earth to test millions of hashtag yoga sequences on your digital cells before you even step on the mat. It will determine the exact age, the exact angle of a twist needed to stimulate your specific kidneys for optimal detoxification. Would you like me to generate a theoretical longevity dashboard for an avatar agent showing which cellular biomarkers it would prioritize during a 20-minute vinyasa yoga flow? Love it, Gemini AI. Great response. Fascinating. Read more about this, agenda item 8A, in the Kokio or Hawaiian white hibiscus. A further blog post, a further exploratory restorative yoga class on Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8:30 p.m. India time, and as we may live to 150 and well beyond. In the blog post again that begins Kokio, Kio, or Hawaiian white hibiscus. Agenda item 8B. What cellular transitions happen when we do yoga asana and potentially in a realistic virtual earth for cells? Read more about this in that blog post. And 8C, check out the hashtag Pinterest post regarding 8 limbs of yoga. Take a look, it says, and it shows yoga philosophy, 8 limbs of yoga, WUS yoga. This is a set of Twitter posts. Yoga WUS, and the also see the yoga wiki subject page at World University and School, and regarding free online yoga class at the blog post beginning Kokio, Kio, or Hawaiian white hibiscus flower, and hashtag regarding hashtag yoga and longevity genetics convo in the Kokio, Kio, or Hawaiian white hibiscus blog post. Further, agenda item 9, I guess agenda item 8, D, is also regarding this restorative yoga class on Saturdays, and as we may live to 150 and well beyond. Dear Dick Rob, MD, possibly posthumously, also a professor in Harvard Medical School of ophthalmology, and whom I've known since I was basically a baby. My deepest condolences to his family on the passing of your husband and father, Richard M. Robb, MD. Good day this Sunday, and I realize that some of the following may have to be done posthumously, but maybe his obituaries were written to protect him, even from international organized crime, and perhaps the yoga and genetic drug therapies will help him live further. He had a stroke about 10 years ago, and even potentially beyond 122 years of age, even while aging, reversal genetic drug therapies help as well, possibly with his stroke. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Yellow Coneflower, Echinacea Paradoxa in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com in February of 2026. Agenda item 9. In a realistic virtual earth, ? Proposed Read College book group beginning in early 2026 in Canyon 94516. Byron Hahn, MD, PhD, who lives in Moraga, California, about 4 miles from Canyon, California. Byron, can we focus on cell transitions initially in building out a realistic virtual earth for genetics in the Canyon 94516 shop, potentially? and in an iterating hashtag WUAS multimedia hospital room prototype even, and see George Church's co-authoring of the scientific paper on AI and LLMs in the language of life below. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Coral Reef Fish on using large language models. Agenda item 10. Glad to be joining the fourth GEG Ahmedabad hashtag AMA Canva presentation from India. Dr. Vishal Varia, glad to have joined about a week or two ago. How best can World University and School in a Grow with Google WS program build out newly updated worlduniversityandschool.org homepage in all 22 scheduled languages in India for hashtag free WUS degrees and in all 424 languages in India too. And this is interesting because just in this upcoming Saturday, March 7th, 2026, at about 4:30 a.m. West Coast time, there's another Canva education, Canva design presentation through GEG, Google Educator Groups, Ahmedabad, and which I think Dr. Vishal Varia in Rajkot, Ahmedabad, India, is organizing through the GEG Ahmedabad group. So more about this from January 31st, 2026 in the blog post beginning Jade, Vine, Strongalodin, Macrophis, and regarding joining this GEG Ahmedabad hashtag AMA Canva presentation from India. And how best can World University and School in a Grow with Google WS program build out our newly updated worlduniversityandschool.org in all 22 scheduled languages in India? Jade, Vine, Strongalodin, Macrobotus, and also see the blog post beginning Amania species, SPP, both in my blog, both from January 2026. So moving to the second wing of WUAS, the WS Corporation, changing hats, the second of two WUS wings, a for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California, and regarding the academic press planned in 7,159 living languages with machine learning, that beginning URL is worlduniversityandschool.org/academicpress.html. Agenda item A, navigating growing the WUS educational services stores in India and Pakistan. With Hindu and Muslim backgrounds, I think you'd know how to navigate in India and Pakistan really well. Neil June and Fahad Gitari, who both work in a 7-Eleven grocery store in Moraga area near Canyon, California, who have become friends. And regarding possibly World University and School's emerging WS educational services stores for books, computers, robotics, groceries, hospital technologies, and think a Walmart product line from here at the academic press at worlduniversityandschool.org beginning homepage. And read more about this in the blog post beginning Coral Reef Fish on using large language models. Agenda item B on the WS Corporation side. A store within a store model, World University and School with Walmart in at World Univ and SCH regarding hashtag WS store within a store model and WS Press in a potentially hashtag Walmart WUAS collaboration with Walmart in 19 countries worldwide. And more about this in the blog post beginning Ophrys apifera bee orchid store within, seeking also to develop hashtag WUAS delivery. How could this help Walmart's stock price grow significantly? And regarding a blog post, a web page that came through to my Google smartphone from Sherwood News Markets, Walmart's Q4 results beat estimates, full year guidance underwhelms. I think World University and School as possibly a store within a Walmart store, first in 19 countries, Walmart's in now, and then with World University and School growing into 200 countries, possibly differentiating from Walmart to be seen, could help the Walmart stock grow and plan for this over the next 50 to 100 years as we seek to hire as many as 2.5 million people over the next 50 to 100 years. More about this in the blog post beginning coral reef fish on using large language models. Agenda item C, 10 best initial use case scenarios for humanoid robots in the US when they go public and become commercially available. 30 initial uses and 10 for WUAS especially. So here are the 10 for WUS especially that I asked Gemini AI about and regarding interacting with humans, like World University and Schools, hashtag MD professors of surgery and medicine, hashtag classical musical instrument teachers, hashtag rock and roll musicians, for hashtag jamming with at WUAS, and hashtag Angela and Victor inspired yoga, hashtag yoga guides, and got some great replies from Gemini AI. And potentially as WUS seeks to collaborate also with Toyota Robotics in the US when they go public and become commercially available. And just got an article onto my Google smartphone this morning about something about as robotics, humanoid robotics become more available in the US. I think it mentioned 2 humanoid robots that are now on the streets at WUS, Cutesy and Server. How could how things are changing, the weird world of robotics as they replace jobs. People become robot wranglers, I think was the word used in this article. Interesting. And see the Twitter post on Twitter X in these regards, interacting with humans like hashtag WUS UNIVS, hashtag MD professors of surgery, hashtag classical music instrument teachers, hashtag rock and roll musicians, for hashtag jamming with at WUS, and hashtag Angela and Victor inspired yoga, hashtag yoga guides in posted a couple of weeks ago. 10 best initial cases scenarios for humanoid robots in the US interacting with humans like elderly care. 10 best initial case scenarios for humanoid robots become commercially available. Agenda item D. I added all the publications of the academic press at World University and School thus far, a brand new academic press, and also the poetry press at World University and School, with descriptions here to my main LinkedIn profile, linkedin.com/in/Scott GK McLeod. And see the press at World University and School in its beginning form with the 5 books we've published so far at worlduniversityandschool.org/academicpress.html. Most recent book, Light, Float, Sit, Watsu, virtually, Body, Mind, Electricity, Sings to Me at Harbin Hot Springs, and Other Traveling Poems, from 2021 at the World University and School Press, with the ISBN number of 978-0-578-83468-9. Second title, To the Dance or the Pools, virtually, how different it is to soak at Harbin than to realize it in virtual reality. Also from the Poetry Press at World University and School from 2019, ISBN number 13-978-05786-25492. Title of the third book World University and School has published, Winding Road Rainbow, Harbin, Wandering, and the Poetry of Loving Bliss, also from the Poetry Press at World University and School. From 2018, ISBN -13 978 0 578 43518 3, where rainbow here refers to the Rainbow Gathering, which started in around 1972 or 73. Fourth title, Haiku-ish and Other Loving Hippie Harbin Poetry. From the Poetry Press at World University and School from 2017, ISBN 13 978 0 89692 or 892 04903 7. And there's a webpage for that, scottmccloud.com/haiku-ish poetrybook.html. And the very first book the World University and School Academic Press published, the title is Naked Harbin Ethnography, Hippies, Warm Pools, Counterculture, Clothing Optionality, and Virtual Harbin. From the Academic Press at World University and School from 2016. The ISBN number is ISBN -13 978 0 692 64613 7. And visit the Harbin Hot Springs Gate here in Google Street View with Time Slider, and walk down the road to Middletown, or add a photo or video to Street View. Accessible from also the Twitter feed, twitter.com/Harbin book, and the webpage for this book on my website, scottmccloud.com/actual virtual Harbin book.html. And read these books, check them out. Purchase these books here too from the WUAS current printer and distributor at amazon.com/author/Scott McCloud World University. And again, these are all newly updated with descriptions on my main LinkedIn profile, linkedin.com/in/Scott GK McCloud. Agenda item E. Glad Pi cryptocurrency is growing, and WUAS, with a partnering email from Pi Network, continues to seek to code for most of all 7.9 billion people on the planet. From here, you at World University, wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/you at World University, and to end poverty too. And this retweets a Twitter post from the Pi Core team at Pi Core Team from February 20th. Happy first anniversary of Open Network. To celebrate this milestone, Pi founders Chengdao Fan and Nicholas Kokolis dive deeper into Pi's strategy, approach, and current work since Open Network, while also providing greater visibility into the direction and priorities guiding Pi's continued development, including Pi's ecosystem tokens design on mainnet, KYC as a service. KYC stands for Know Your Customer, and AI. Pi also has a KYB, Know Your Business process. I think everyone who uses the Pi cryptocurrency has to go through the KYC, Know Your Customer, or KYB, Know Your Business verification process. When I went through KYC, I added an ID. Watch the full video to learn more. Celebrate Pi's Open Network anniversary with Pi founders Chengdao Fan and Nicholas Kokolis in this YouTube video link. And also check out the Twitter post. Agenda item E1. But to mine Pi, and you can get your free Pi daily, taking less than 5 seconds to mine it at minepi.com/SGKMAC by pressing 2 buttons. But to mine Pi and get free money daily, people still need internet access from their smartphones. So stay tuned as the internet and Wi-Fi and smartphones spread further around the world in all 200 countries. So Pi cryptocurrency couldn't at this time reach all nearly 7.9 billion people, because we don't have that kind of distributed internet access yet, and people don't have smartphones among all 7.9 billion people yet. Agenda item E2, and this is to close. See more about World University and Schools seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet at the blog label U at WUAS in World University and School.blogspot.com/search/label U at WUAS, and scott-mccloud.blogspot.com/search/label /U at WUS. And see also the blog post, the blog label in both of these blogs, UBI, which stands for Universal Basic Income. So World University and School.blogspot.com/search/label UBI, and scott-mccloud.blogspot.com/search/label UBI. So that's the WS News and Question and Answer and WS Weekly Business Meeting for today, March 2nd, 2026, Monday. Upcoming book, Society, Information Technology in the Global University, forthcoming academic press at World University and School in 2026. Also on both of the blogs for today, beginning Skyline Preserve, are the signature for World University and School, which include two Scottish small piping albums. One titled Honey Pibroch. Pibroch is the classical music bagpiping form that's ancient, goes back many centuries, possibly 1,000 years, possibly to the 13 or 1400s. Honey Pibroch, Piobairachd. It's Scottish Gaelic. Scottish small piping album number 2, Honey Pibroch, and Scottish small piping album number 1, Honey in the Bag, Out of the Air tune from 2020. Honey in the Bag is a tune of light music. K.L. Moore for Scottish bagpiping, and out of the title of my first Scottish small piping album is Honey in the Bag, and the tune is Out of the Air that I have in this signature for World University and School too. So check out further both wings at World University and School. And until next week, Monday, March 9th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And I'll post today's recording to the main YouTube channel, youtube.com/Scott McCloud World University /videos, and the two main Twitter posts, Twitter feeds, twitter.com/WORLDUNIVANDSCH, twitter.com/WUAS press, as well as the two blog posts for today, which begin Rocky Mountains skyline using the agenda news from last week, February 23rd, 2026, beginning Skyline Preserve, and also to the main LinkedIn profiles for World University and School. So until next week, March 9th, thanks for your communications in a myriad of ways. See you online in between. And until next week, bye for now.